colleagues. My name is Eleanor Purser. I'm the Co-Strategic Director for Lambeth Council's Directorate of Sustainable Growth and Opportunity. And it's my pleasure to offer you a very warm welcome to the launch of Growing Brixton's REC Quarter Partner Procurement process. So we see this project really as a critical part of fulfilling the council's ambitions for Brixton and for Brixton's community. And I think as we look forward with, some excitement and possibly some trepidation about what a reopened, maybe mid-pandemic world might look like, today is also an expression of our confidence in the strength of Brixton as a resilient, dynamic and distinctive place. And so we've built momentum in the council and the community, and it was very important for us that off the back of the council's public endorsement of our approach and our vision last month, we've moved swiftly to launching our search for a partner. And with that, with no further ado, may I please welcome Councillor Matthew Bennett, our Cabinet Member for Planning, Investment and New Homes, to talk about the importance of this project within the Council's vision. So Matthew, over to you.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Eleanor, and good afternoon, everyone. I am still sad that we're presenting to computer screens and we're not all able to be in the same place and ideally in Brixton talking about this opportunity and what we're going to be able to achieve together for the community in Brixton by building this project together for people in Brixton. As Eleanor said, we're all hugely excited and proud that we've got to this point now. We've launched procurement and we're moving ahead with this project. It's something that together we've been working on for a number of years. It's a project that has not just my enthusiastic endorsement as the Cabinet Member who's been shepherding it for several years, but also the Council's full political leadership, from the Leader of the Council, Jack Hopkins, the Council's Deputy Leaders, its Cabinet, but also local ward councillors who I've worked very closely with, and officers who've been working on this have also worked closely with over the last year or 18 months as we've moved forward. And I can tell you that they are just as excited and enthusiastic about the potential of this programme and what this partnership can deliver for Brixton as I am and as the team are that you'll hear from today. We are going to take you through a whole range of things about what this project can do, about the sites themselves, about the procurement process, and finish up towards the end of this session with a Q&A. But we're going to start off with a video about Lambeth and our ambitions for the Borough of Lambeth, and then we can move on to talk about why we're so excited about what this project can do for Brixton.
Stretching into the heart of London, Lambeth is well connected and well networked, with a skilled, diverse and creative workforce and a strong local economy. Guided by our ambitious borough plan, an unprecedented level of investment is already underway, which is vital to supporting economic recovery and building resilience in our communities. We are committed to industry collaboration, and by working in partnership, we are securing the positive outcomes that meet resident and business needs, including affordable housing and workspace, new community and cultural facilities, more training and employment opportunities, major infrastructure and public realm improvements, and increased income to fund public services. Our key business sectors include the creative and digital industries, professional and financial services, life sciences and healthcare, hospitality and tourism. Throughout the pandemic, we've worked quickly and collaboratively to safeguard Lambeth's everyday economy, whilst preparing for an economic recovery driven by innovation-led sectors. We want development to bring more good jobs to the borough, and we are working with employers to deliver on our London Living Wage commitments. Lambeth has good schools, colleges and universities, but there is more to be done to tackle inequality in employment and educational attainment. We want to shape a skill system fit for the future economy, one which creates equality of opportunity for young people and residents from all backgrounds. Major investment is taking place at our world-leading cultural anchors and grassroots organisations across the borough, and we're providing dedicated support for the sector to enable increased resilience into the future. Lambeth's nighttime economy was thriving pre-pandemic, a vibrant and diverse offering supporting thousands of jobs. To best ensure it bounces back and continues to make Lambeth such a great place to live, work, visit and study, we're prioritising for support. And through all of this, we are committed to doing all we can to address the climate emergency. working with partners to strive for a greener, safer future. We're taking a proactive, inclusive and collaborative approach to shaping the future. We hope that you will want to do this with us.
So I really echo the end of that video, and we really hope that you're excited to work with us. And if you weren't already excited about the potential of working in Lambeth, then I hope that gave you a strong taste of our ambitions and the potential we've got within our borough. But today is really specifically about Brixton and about what we can do for Brixton, in Brixton, and for the local community. It's the heart of our borough. It's where our town hall is. It's the centre of Lambeth. It's also the centre for Britain's Black community. It's the original home where many people who came on the Empire Windrush put down their roots. It's the home to Britain's Black cultural archives. It's the centre of that community. It's a place that's extremely dynamic, that's incredibly diverse, and a place where people are extremely proud and protective of their heritage and of Brixton as a place. We're known in Brixton for our independent street markets on Electric Avenue, for the fact that our covered markets are, I think, the only building in the country listed for their cultural heritage as a Caribbean market. It's a place with an incredibly strong nighttime economy and an independent food and drink offering that's unrivaled in London. If there are chains in Brixton, like Franco Manca or Honest Burger, it's because they started off in a small unit in Brixton Market and had the ability to grow from there. But it's also a place which, as the centre of Britain's Black community, has also suffered enormously over many years at the hands of racism. It's a place where 40 years ago we saw the Brixton uprisings in response to the police, what the police had done within the local community. And it's a place that's been held back economically for a long time. Unemployment is higher in Brixton than anywhere else in the borough. Due to COVID, unemployment's doubled everywhere in Lambeth. I think that's true across most of London, and rose to over 12% in Brixton. There's an awful lot that we need to do to create and provide more economic opportunity, to recognise that entrepreneurial spirit that drives our markets, whether they're on the streets or in the covered market or in our small businesses, needs space to grow. Before the crisis, we had just a 2% vacancy rate for office space in Brixton, and a lot of the space that was available was not of great quality. That meant we were seeing local people with great ideas come forward and look to grow businesses and then struggle to find the space to succeed and create more opportunity for other people within Brixton. Which moves me on to what we've been doing as a council and what the market is doing in response to this. As a council, we've driven and delivered space for businesses, to create jobs, for social enterprises, for charities, for local people who want to get on. At International House, we've created the largest affordable workspace in the country and the first living wage building in Britain. When we refurbished our town hall, we carved out space for Tripod, affordable workspace for creative and digital businesses. On the left of your screen, you can see what is very nearly completed now on Somerleyton Road, a new home for Brixton House Theatre, being directly delivered through the council's own house building company, Homes for Lambeth, which is also seeing creative and affordable workspace at Carlton Mansions, space for local community groups, and over 300 homes. We know that there's huge demand and opportunity in Brixton for this kind of economic growth. And we're not just seeing it driven by the council, we're also seeing the market respond. And on the right there is the incredible refurbished department store, which is the headquarters of Squires and Partners Architects, who moved to Brixton from King's Cross and are among the strongest advocates for what being based in and working in Brixton can do for businesses. This project that we're talking about today has the potential to drive economic growth and economic recovery in Brixton, provide 20% affordable workspace so that we can have genuinely inclusive growth, and drive the jobs that we need in order to provide opportunity and prosperity for our local community. Which moves on to what we have within our local community. You've heard me talk already about the incredible diversity and strength and pride in Brixton's heritage. And this is going to mean that as we look to deliver on this programme, that we need a partnership that isn't just you working with us, the council, but us all working together with the local community. It'll mean recognising that while everyone on this call, I'm sure, has the technical skills and ability to deliver what we want in bricks and mortar, this project has to be so much more. We haven't started this process with glossy CGIs of what could be built. We started talking about economic need and in recognising the housing need in Brixton is severe too. While this project is being driven by the opportunity to create workspace, be a step change for Brixton's economy and provide more opportunity, it's also a chance to demonstrate that housing growth can be at least 50% affordable, can provide more council homes, and recognise that Brixton is a place where over 3,000 people are on our waiting list for social housing, and need to see that growth, investment and development works for local people and isn't just built alongside them. We're excited for this opportunity. We know that working together we can make this an exemplar scheme that highlights not only the benefits of genuinely inclusive growth and investment, can meet housing need, can support our existing street markets with the infrastructure that they need, and work in partnership, genuine inclusive partnership with our local community, so that everyone can see the benefits of what's being done here. And as we grow Brixton's rec quarter, we build for Brixton and not just in Brixton. And I'm going to hand over now to Niamh Hollis, who's going to talk through the sites themselves and the opportunity that's available for all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matthew. My name is Niamh Hollis and I'm a Principal Regeneration Officer, part of the Growing Brixton Rec Quarter project team. And I'm really excited to be here presenting to you this afternoon, this great opportunity. So my career started over 15 years ago, specialising in architecture, planning, architecture, urban design and planning. I'm raised in South London, and Brixton has a special place in my heart. It used to be my old stomping ground as a young girl, and as a mum, now it's like one of my favourite places to go and soak in the energy of Brixton and buy some of my favourite cultural foods. The Growing Brixton Rec Quarter development site comprises of 2 council-owned sites located in the heart of Brixton, amidst the hustle and the bustle of the Brixton street markets. And these Brixton street markets have become quite famous. And I recently realized that, or came to find out, that my favorite artists, Beyonce and Rihanna, when they come to London, Brixton is one of their favorite places to come to eat Jamaican food. And so I'm really excited to be part of this team, looking to find the right developer to invest in Brixton and to bring about inclusive growth. So to the north of the site, we have the International House, which is an 11-storey building at 6 Canterbury Crescent. Pop Brixton and the Popes Road car park are located at 49 Brixton Station Road. And both of these sites provide a great opportunity for us to grow and regenerate Brixton. Moving on to the history of the site, the Growing Brixton Rec Quarter sites have had an interesting history. In 2011, Brixton Station Road car park was demolished, and this opened up an opportunity for the council to explore the redevelopment of the sites as meanwhile uses. And the idea for a temporary ice rink at the Brixton Station Road was born. In 2012, planning permission was approved for the Streatham Ice Rink redevelopment, and it was decided that the Streatham Ice Rink would be brought to Brixton for a temporary period during the closure of Streatham for the regeneration and housing development. And in 2012, the temporary ice rink opened to much excitement of the young people of Brixton. Moving on to the current situation. The sites today boast a range of successful meanwhile uses. International House was launched in 2018 as London's largest affordable workspace. And it's been a really successful launch pad for SMEs and social enterprises. And as Matthew mentioned earlier, it has also been accredited as the UK's first London living wage building. Pop Brixton in its own right has also been successful too, providing exciting spaces as retail, food and beverage uses. And as a council, we want to continue to celebrate and build upon the legacy of these successful uses, which will only continue to contribute to the resilience and long-term economic development of Brixton Town Centre. Moving on to planning. So the potential for these sites has long been identified in our Lambeth local plan through policy PN3 and site allocation 15. These policies are specific policies for Brixton, and they set out the policy context for development in Brixton Town Centre. We also expect development proposals to align with our Lambeth Economic Resilience Strategy, the Brixton Creative Enterprise Zone Action Plan, the Brixton Economic Action Plan, and the Brixton Economic Action Plan to further meet the aspirations of our Lambeth local plan. Moving on to the opportunities and who they benefit. So as a council and as a team, we want to maximise the benefits for our local people. And we know that a lot of the people in Brixton are feeling disenfranchised by development that's come about in the last few years and are feeling pushed out. And so as a team, we have made efforts to really get to understand the context of Brixton and to understand the data and the evidence base to support it. So we know that 70% of the working age population in Brixton, 70% of the population in Brixton is from the working age group. And through this development opportunity, we will provide employment. Young people will benefit from extended apprenticeships, job skills and training opportunities. The new commercial space will benefit local businesses, providing flexible and affordable workspace. Improvements to Brixton's market infrastructure will benefit our market street traders. And the provision of new quality homes will benefit our residents, and the public realm improvements will help to deliver safer and healthier streets. And last but not least, we want this development opportunity to help tackle inequality. And this will be done through a robust equalities, diversity and inclusion strategy, which will be focused at our protected characteristic groups. So overall, we're expecting this development to really just change the narrative for the people in Brixton, overall creating a better and fairer Brixton for everyone. And I'd like to pass back over to Matthew.
Thanks very much, Niamh. I think I'm bringing in Tom Branton at this point to take us through the procurement approach. But first, we're going to have a video from one of our ward councillors. When you heard me earlier talk about the support from the local community and local councillors around what they want to see here, but also setting a bit of a scene around what it is that the community and councillors expect from any partner.
Brixton means so much to me. Brixton for me is where I grew up, where my family remains, where I think opportunities can develop. Hi Tracy. Anyway.
Okay though?
Yeah, I've been okay. And how's the business?
Very quiet at the minute.
These are my absolutely good people who have been trading here for many years. These are the type of individuals that Brixton need. This is my Mr. Eggman. This is Abdul. He used to work for the owner here as a young man and then grew and bought the business. Anybody coming to develop Brixton without people like Abdul, they shouldn't consider coming here. This is the type of people I'm talking about. Yeah? So it's absolutely key for me to see any developer or council doing anything that increases the opportunities for Brixton. So if we are going to have fairer Brixton, inclusive Brixton, we need to absolutely start looking at what we can put to achieve that. Progress is not bad. It's only when it's not inclusive, when it does not make people to have opportunity to have jobs, when it does not help people to have affordable homes, when it does not offer people the hope. And this is what I want to happen in this quarter. I want Brixton to be a place where opportunities are for young people like my son, who is now going to university. When they come out, they don't have to go to Canary Wharf. They don't have to go to King's Cross. They want opportunities in their local area. They can find a job. Brixton cannot stand still. We do not want our children to leave Brixton or leave Lambeth because opportunities are not there for them. So let's just put our heads together, work with the council, make sure we realize opportunities that create chances for young people growing up around here. That's what I want Brixton to be. Thank you very much.
I absolutely love that video, and I can't believe I almost skipped us past it when it's such a crucial part of today's presentation. Donatis will never ever forgive me, but I think sums up really well what we're looking to do here. We absolutely want the growth and the investment, but our community is going to be at the absolute heart of this to make it a success. So I am now going to hand over to Tom Branton, who's our Director of Housing Growth and Neighbourhood Regeneration. He's going to take us through the next part of this presentation. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Councillor Bennett, and good afternoon, everybody. So I'm going to take you through the development objectives and the procurement process. The Council has designed a robust set of objectives and public benefits that we'll be seeking from the future of the development of the sites that we're taking you through today. The first objective is securing a new permanent home for Brixton's SMEs, including an affordable workspace hub, and this would comprise around 70,000 square feet. The second objective is a Built for Brixton employment and skills package with good quality jobs and apprenticeships for local people. Number 3 is a London living wage jobs guarantee. And number 4, around 240 new homes are anticipated to be provided as part of the scheme, including 50% of them being affordable, split 70-30 between council level rent and intermediate. The fifth objective is to prioritise an equalities, diversity and inclusion strategy, including initiatives for Black, Asian and minority ethnic groups. The sixth objective is to create a meaningful community involvement at all stages, from design to operation, and this is a critical part of this process and a critical part of the development of these schemes. The seventh objective is to support the vitality of Brixton street markets so that they thrive through improved market infrastructure. The eighth objective is to create safer and healthier streets, creating improvements to Pope's Road to the north and Brixton Station Road to the east. And the ninth objective is that this will be a net zero carbon development, supporting the council's strategy and approach to the climate emergency. And the final objective is to secure income as part of this process for the council to support our further investment in public services and projects. Moving on to the procurement process. The council will be following a competitive negotiation procedure to find a suitable party. In terms of the stages of this process, the first stage is the standard selection questionnaire, SSQ. This will commence from the 1st of April and will run until the 4th of May. Following the SSQ, a maximum of 5 bidders will be invited to tender towards the end of May, with ITT submissions due in for mid-July. Following evaluation of those submissions, a final shortlist of 3 parties will be identified in August, who will be invited to participate in negotiation, which will commence in early September, following a 4-week summer break. The negotiation stage will also include a Meet the Bidders Day with local stakeholders, which will happen around early October, and this stage will culminate in the submission of final tenders due in and around November. The preferred bidder stage following evaluation will commence in December at the end of this year and run through to the start of next year. And it is anticipated that the announcement of the preferred bidder will be announced in January 2022. Moving on to the evaluation approach. So we've talked a lot in this presentation about the place, about the process, about the importance of these schemes to the council's broader strategies, especially around supporting economic growth and inclusive growth for our communities and our residents. So our criteria have been purposefully weighted to ensure that our objectives of securing social value benefits are strongly weighted in favour of 55% quality, 35% as financial and 10% as legal. To summarise, the quality element is split into economic strategy, partnership, engagement and co-design, equalities, diversity, inclusion, and land use, sustainability, urban design and architectural approach. And again, you can see there from the scoring of the importance of the economic strategy as part of the evaluation process for this scheme. Clearly, we're looking to get a strong and healthy land value as part of this opportunity, but as demonstrated by the scoring and by the approach that we've taken through this presentation, the quality outcomes are incredibly important as part of this process and as part of the delivery of the council's vision for these sites. So visit lambethnow.co.uk where you can register to access the opportunity. We'll be uploading a full suite of documents via our EU supply portal next week, Thursday, the 1st of April. In the meantime, please start reviewing our MOI, which is available on the website, the Memorandum of Understanding of Information, and the associated policy and strategy documents, which are linked in that document. We look forward to receiving your proposals and working with you to develop them further to provide real investment and opportunity for Brixton. I will now hand over to Eleanor Purser, who will chair a Q&A panel. Eleanor.
Thank you, Tom, and I'd like to invite others as well. There's you, Tom, Councillor Bennett, Jonathan Bernstein, who is the partner leading from Avison Young and Development Advisory, and Niamh Hollis, who spoke very compellingly earlier. For those attending, you may be able to see in the Zoom bar across the top of your screens a Q&A function. Please don't hesitate to put questions in there. We may not be able to, we're going to keep to time, show our commitment to a strong process from the get-go, but any questions that we don't get to today, we will come back to and we'll post the answers on the portal. So I am going to kick off with the first question is what are the council looking for in a developer? Tom, may I direct that to you, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So as part of this process, the council, we're looking to secure a partner. It is number one, really. Someone that we can work with and collaborate, and who has a shared sense of values between ourselves and between the local community. We're looking for a partner who's capable of investing in Brixton and delivering successful development. So a strong track record is really important, with a delivery capability across both residential and office is preferable, or obviously as part of this process, we're welcoming consortiums as well. We're really looking for a partner who, embraces the rich cultural and historic heritage of Brixton. Someone who gets it and demonstrates that they get it, they get the community, they get the locality and the history, and they understand how they can add value to what is a really rich and dynamic area, and the heartbeat of Lambeth. And we really want somebody who can demonstrate, as we set out in this process, in this presentation, someone who can demonstrate their appreciation and understanding of the social context, but also about how their approach can support the economic aspirations of the scheme. Job creation, supporting business growth, and that real strong commitment to a living wage.
Yeah, that's great, Tom. And as you say, we really are looking for a partner who understands and embraces and enjoys working with stakeholders and with members of the community. But with the successful bidder, we will absolutely do our part to broker and support those relationships, and we know ward councillors will do the same as well. So thank you. The next question. What is the political and strategic support for the scheme from the council, and what are the actual mechanics of the procurement process? I'm going to just break that down. If we could start with the political and the strategic support, maybe Matthew from a political side and Niamh from the project team side, you could talk in turn on that. Maybe Matthew to kick us off.
Yeah, thanks very much, Ellen. I'll do politics, Niamh can do strategic. That seems a fair breakdown. So I'd say that we are really, as you heard me say at the beginning of this presentation, strongly supportive of what this project can do. We very much see that this project is the means to an end. We see the need for economic growth and space for local businesses and entrepreneurs and charities and social enterprises in Brixton. That means building more space. We see the incredible levels of housing need in Brixton, and while we've set up our own house building company, we're building homes ourselves, we also know it's all hands to the pump when it comes to the housing crisis. And we know that in Brixton there's a real need for genuinely affordable social housing, and this project can deliver that. So we're all in lockstep behind what this can do for Brixton. But as Tom's just said, it's around finding the right partner to deliver it. It's around making sure that that support is contingent on having the right approach to the community, the right approach to what's in this project, and around making sure that we are hitting those requirements on the living wage, on space and affordable workspace, on business space, on jobs, on the employment skills package, the support for the market, on carbon. There's an opportunity here to do something that everyone involved with it can be hugely proud of. And we're looking to make sure that that is a strong and genuine partnership. And in that way, we will have everyone's absolute full support. I'll hand over to Niamh.
Thank you. I think building on that, it's really important that the delivery partner understands, as we keep mentioning, the context. And for us, especially the challenges regarding inequalities. And it's really about having a really strong approach to equalities, diversity and inclusion. The need to build in economic opportunities at the earliest stages of the development. So from as early on as the design, as well as the construction and the end use. So this for us is really critical, looking at it throughout all the stages of the procurement process. We really want an approach where you look at securing diversity in core delivery teams. And as we mentioned before, we have built up a network with different organizations. And we also have a really strong network of capacity building and training providers for you to connect with in terms of partnering with. These people are already doing amazing work in Brixton, and we will be supporting you, providing you not only with just data, but those important networks as well.
Thanks, Niamh. And Tom, picking up on the question about the procurement process, the mechanics thereof.
Apologies. I'll kind of give you a quick recap and then perhaps bring Jonathan in, who can kind of cover off a few of the more specific points. So obviously, potential bidders will be aware that Amberson Young are leading the process for us, and we'll be working with ourselves alongside Trowers and Hamlins. The website lambethnow.co.uk is a place to register if you haven't already. And we know a number of you, many of you already have, and have expressed a strong interest, which we very much welcome. and then we will start in earnest from the 1st of April when the process will go live. Jonathan, was there additional points that you wanted to make in terms of the process?
Thanks, Tom. I think there's just more to point out to everyone for housekeeping purposes. All the relevant procurement documents and supplementary information will be found on the portal, as we've said. Any clarification questions should be diverted through that, and we'll all look to respond to any queries that arise as swiftly as possible. And I suppose portal access will also be restricted to the bidders still in play at each of the relevant stages as we go through this.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the questions coming. There was a similar one about when the documentation and sort of the notice would be formally launched, and that's been answered by Tim Surrey, one of our team. Thank you. Then there's a question about International House, and we profiled how successful it's been and how we see it an asset to have those growing businesses there. Please could I direct that one to you, Tom, if that's okay?
Thanks, Eleanor. I think the council really recognises the huge success of International House. Working with our partners, 3Space, it's created a really fantastic track record and has grown a number of businesses, of which we're extremely proud. So building on that legacy is a real key aim of this process. In terms of the physical building itself, I think it's important for bidders to know that the process does allow for the full range of options, from redevelopment to refurbishment and potential additionality on top. I think it's for bidders to work out what suits their business model best, how they can best maximise value, how their approach can best meet the objectives that we've set out as part of this process, and really how they can bring their skill sets and their USPs. We recognise that there's going to be a diverse range of interest in this scheme, and we would really encourage bidders to play to their strengths, and as part of that process, help us understand the best way to kind of realise our vision on both of these sites.
And Tom, just scanning the list of questions whilst we're on it, there was just a request for clarification about sort of affordable workspace, and is that 20% of 70,000 square feet or 70,000 square feet? Would you just mind, for the avoidance of doubt, clarifying that?
Yeah, so for absolute clarity, the requirement is no net loss of commercial floor space, so the replacement of the current floor space of International House, which is around 6,500 square metres. But the affordable workspace requirement is 20% of that 6,500, so 1,300 square metres. And 20% is obviously, or maybe not obviously, 20% is 10% more than our planning policy requires. So it's double what's required in planning policy. And that's part of helping us secure our commitment and kind of vision and objectives for this scheme. Thank
you. And Tom, whilst I have you sort of on the spot, there's a question about, you've just talked about the openness to think through a number of offers and options from bidders, but there's a question about if we've got a set view on whether we wish to retain any or all of the commercial space, or whether what we're looking for is the consortium to have a partner who can own and find an operator following completion.
I think it's fair to say that we don't come to this process with a set view of the outcomes that we're looking at, of the way in which we're going to deliver it. We've very much talked about this as selection procurement, excuse me, selection procurement of a delivery partner, and that language is kind of carried through from the cabinet report through to the whole process of procurement. So we very much see this as being a partnership, working hand in hand with the selected developer on the right approach for the scheme. So I don't want to sidestep the question, but I kind of want to make it clear that we are open to a multitude of ways of which we can kind of realise the development objectives for this site, and we understand that they can be delivered in a number of different ways. And again, it kind of comes back to playing to the development partners' strengths and their USPs, of which we also recognise, they will be very diverse. So I think, we're open to conversations, and we're open to kind of a range of approaches. We don't come at this with a certain set of working parameters in our minds. We come at this with a kind of openness to work with and engage with the delivery partner.
Thank you, Tom. And I hoped that you'd say that, and I hope that bidders or potential bidders, you will get the sense here of a very sort of purposeful but a commercially aware team within the council, within our professional advisory, and also deep connections with the other services in the council around our employment and skills community development, such that offer to work flexibly and creatively is something that can have a shared confidence. And then the next question, slightly linked, this might need to be the final question given time, is what impact will the procurement have on the existing tenants of International House and of POP Brixton? Matthew, I wondered if I could bring you back in on that.
Yeah, sure. Thanks very much, Eleanor. Well, I mean, echoing a lot of what Tom just said, we're hugely proud of what's been achieved at both POP Brixton, which when it was launched quite some years ago was originally called Meanwhile at Post Road, because it was very much thought to be a short-term meanwhile use ahead of this project coming forward, which has taken slightly longer, but allowed POP Brixton to show its real success and the demand that is there, both for space in Brixton, but also for the real selling point of POP Brixton was it was a chance to give people a shot to try out ideas and see if they worked in a way that was slightly less risky. And we've seen real success stories coming out of there, like Cricket, the Indian restaurant, who started off in a shipping container in POP and then found a venue in Soho and now have 2 sites, including one back in Brixton, which is fantastic. And International House also was very much launched as a 5-year meanwhile space project to make use of International House as we developed this programme. And in both cases, business continuity for those businesses who've come and demonstrated demand, who've set themselves up, who've created businesses, created jobs, created opportunities for local people, and done so in a way which is genuinely inclusive through the way in which the living wage has been so central. We will be looking to bidders to have business continuity strategy for those businesses as part of their programmes, but it's also something that we thought about when we were setting up the International House project, that any bidders and our partners through Space have been fantastic in running that programme for us, needed to have an idea on the horizon about how we support businesses to stay in the area. And that's partly on us. That's the space that we're creating on Summerlayton Road and Carter Mansions, where there's affordable space. LJ Works is another council-run affordable workspace, which is being delivered just across at Loughborough Junction, but also seeing a really strong pipeline come through. So, we are doing this and creating more space in Brixton because we know we need more good quality affordable space if local success stories are going to be here. And that's as true for the tenants of POP and International House as it is for everybody else in the community who has a good idea and just needs space for it to thrive. So this absolutely at its heart has our local success stories and entrepreneurs, and we're looking to work with you and with them to make sure that that stays in Brixton and creates the jobs and opportunities local people want.
Thank you, Matthew, and thank you for the many questions and then the obvious sort of careful listening. I'm going to need to draw that to a close now, but Jonathan, we will be, I think, answering the questions and making sure we've got those responses so they're ready for as the formal documentation goes live. Is that right?
That's right, Eleanor, yes.
Lovely. Okay, well, on that basis, thank you for those questions. And actually, Matthew, I think I'm handing back to you to close us off.
Yes, lovely. Thank you very much, Eleanor. And well, there we go. That really prefaces what I was about to say. We have the slogan, Lambeth Now is the time. Well, now really is the time to go and visit the Lambeth Now website and register and get going, because as you heard earlier, this is going to be a fast-moving process because we're ambitious to get going. We're clear that this has a major role to play for us in coming out of COVID and restoring and rebuilding our local economy. So we're keen to get going, and I hope, having heard everything today from from Tom, from Eleanor, from Niamh, from colleagues from Robinson Young, that you're excited and enthusiastic like we are for what we could do together in Brixton. So thank you very much. I think at one point we had over 130 people on this call. So an exciting time for all of us, and a big moment in writing the next part of Brixton's history. So thank you all very much, and look forward to hopefully seeing you in person soon.